Every morning, as the sun rose over the sleepy little town of Maple Ridge, a small figure stood near the old railway crossing. Her name was Lily Carter, a quiet, gentle 12-year-old girl with bright eyes that seemed to carry both sadness and hope. Every day, without fail, she stood on the same spot by the tracks, wearing her faded blue jacket and holding her schoolbag tight. And every day, as the 7:15 a.m. train thundered past, she waved with all her heart. At first, it seemed like no one noticed. The train roared by, wind whipping her hair into her face, and she'd smile anyway. But one morning, the driver, Mr. Thomas Reed, a middle-aged man with tired eyes and a kind heart, noticed her. Through the glare of the sun and the blur of motion, he saw a little hand waving at him. Instinctively, he blew the horn twice and waved back. That tiny moment sparked something neither of them could have imagined. From that day on, it became their ritual. Every morning, without missing a single day, Lily would stand by the tracks, and Thomas would wave and blow the horn in reply. It was their silent friendship, one built without words, yet stronger than most spoken bonds. Lily's father had died in a train accident when she was just 6 years old. Her mother, Sarah, worked 2 jobs to keep food on the table. Life wasn't easy, and their small wooden house near the tracks was both a blessing and a curse. It was cheap rent, but it constantly reminded them of what they'd lost. Yet, somehow, the train became Lily's comfort. It was her link to the world her father loved, her bridge to hope. Every morning when the train came, she'd whisper, "Hi, Daddy," and wave, not knowing that someone inside the roaring machine was waving right back at her. For Thomas, the wave became the best part of his day. He had been a train driver for 22 years, and his life had grown monotonous, same track, same sound, same endless routine. His own daughter had left home after college and barely called anymore. He missed the laughter, the joy, the warmth of family. But seeing that little girl by the tracks each morning, it reminded him that there was still innocence, still kindness in the world. She didn't know it, but Lily's wave gave him a reason to smile again. Seasons passed, spring turned to summer, then to winter, and back again. Rain or shine, snow or storm, Lily was always there. Sometimes she held an umbrella, sometimes she stood shivering in the cold, her cheeks red from the wind, but she never missed a day. Thomas began to look forward to that exact moment more than anything else. He even marked his schedule so that he would be the one driving the 7:15 route. The other drivers laughed and called her the train girl, but Thomas didn't mind. He felt a strange connection to her, a fatherly bond, unspoken yet profound. One bitter winter morning, as snow blanketed the tracks, Lily wasn't there. Thomas blew the horn twice, hoping she'd appear. But the little girl never came out. His heart sank. The next day, still no Lily. The third day, nothing again. Worry gnawed at him. Had something happened? He didn't even know where exactly she lived, only that small wooden house near the old oak tree by the crossing. That evening, unable to sleep, he decided to find out. After his shift, Thomas drove back to Maple Ridge and walked toward the tracks. The air was cold, and snow crunched under his boots. He found the small house, quiet, lights off. He hesitated, then knocked. After a moment, the door opened slightly. Sarah stood there, her eyes red from crying. "Ma'am, I'm sorry to bother you," Thomas began nervously. I'm the train driver on the 7:15. I just wanted to ask about the little girl who waves every morning. Is she okay?" Sarah's lip trembled. "She's in the hospital," she whispered. "Pneumonia. She got sick last week." Thomas's heart dropped. "Oh no. I'm so sorry." "She always said she couldn't miss the train," Sarah said, tears streaming down her face. "Even when she had a fever, she tried to sneak outside. I had to stop her." That night, Thomas couldn't sleep. He thought about Lily lying in a hospital bed, missing her train, missing that small moment that meant so much to both of them. The next morning, he did something he'd never done before. When the 7:15 train reached the hospital station, Thomas slowed it down for just a few seconds, long enough to gently blow the horn 3 times, a signal he made just for her. Somewhere inside that hospital, a little girl smiled weakly, her eyes lighting up. She knew it was him. Weeks passed, and Lily slowly recovered. When she finally returned home, she stood once again by the tracks, thinner and paler, but smiling brighter than ever. When Thomas saw her that morning, he almost teared up. He waved so hard that even the other train workers laughed. But he didn't care. She was back, and that meant everything. Years passed. Lily grew older. The little girl by the tracks became a young woman. Life moved forward, things changed. But one thing stayed the same, she never stopped waving. Then came the day when everything changed forever. Thomas was set to retire. After nearly 3 decades on the tracks, this would be his final ride. He'd told no one, not even Lily. As he approached Maple Ridge one last time, he slowed slightly. There she was, standing by the tracks, waving like always. He blew the horn twice and waved back, smiling through tears. That moment felt eternal. But deep down, he knew it was goodbye. When the train disappeared down the line, Lily suddenly felt something strange, a pull in her heart. She didn't know why, but she felt the moment was different. Something told her she wouldn't see him again. That night, she couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the driver she'd waved to for years, the man who'd always waved back, even when the world seemed cold. She realized she'd never even thanked him. So, she decided to do something about it. 3 years later. Lily was now 20, a college student studying engineering. But not just any engineering, railway engineering. Inspired by that bond, she'd dedicated her studies to understanding the very trains that had carried her hope all those years. She never forgot the man who waved back. And one day, fate gave her a chance. Her university announced a project visit to the Central Railway Control Office. As she entered the main hall with her classmates, her eyes widened. There, in a framed photo on the wall, was him, Thomas Reed. Below the picture, a small plaque read, "Thomas Reed, 30 years of dedicated service. Retired 3 years ago. Loved by all." Her heart swelled. She asked around and learned that Thomas now lived in a small coastal town not far away. Without hesitation, she decided to visit him. When she arrived, the old man was sitting on his porch, gazing toward the distant tracks. His hair had turned white, his hands trembled slightly, but his eyes still held that same warmth. "Mr. Reed," she called softly. He looked up, puzzled. "Yes?" She smiled. "You probably don't remember me. I'm Lily, the girl who waved to your train every morning." For a moment, he just stared, then his eyes widened. "The girl by the tracks," he whispered. "You, oh, my God." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "I wanted to thank you. You have no idea how much those waves meant to me. When my father died, I lost all hope. But seeing you wave back every day, it reminded me that there's still kindness in the world. You made me believe again." Thomas's eyes glistened. "No, Lily, you gave me hope. You don't know how lonely I was. Your wave reminded me why I loved this job. You gave an old man a reason to smile." They both sat in silence, watching as a train passed in the distance. The horn echoed faintly, like a memory carried by the wind. Years later, when Thomas passed away peacefully in his sleep, Lily attended his funeral. The railway company honored him by naming a small section of track after him, Reed's Line. And every morning, when Lily began her work as one of the youngest engineers on the railway, she stood by the tracks for a moment, just as she used to. The train still roared past, the sound filling the air with life. And she still waved. But this time, she wasn't waving to a stranger. She was waving to a memory, a bond that had shaped her life, taught her kindness, and reminded her that even the smallest gestures can change someone's world. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness, a wave, a smile, a simple acknowledgement, can ripple through time and touch hearts in ways we can never imagine. Life's most beautiful connections often begin with the simplest gestures.